this is Christina Barr, and you're watching Black Tea News. Oh, geez, my green screen is way off. I did not realize that. Hold on. Welcome to Black Tea News. I'm your host, Christina Barr, and today we will be talking about how Trump is rumored he believes he's going to be indicted. And we're not quite sure about that. It's still a rumor at this point. Not sure. I guess we will find out because it was rumored to happen tomorrow. And we shall see. But he's going in all caps, so we'll see about that. Also, he's telling people to protest. I am telling people that is a bad idea, and I continue to say that, and I will go through why I think that is a bad idea, especially if you're planning on going to like New York or doing something like that. It's not a good idea, guys. Also, there was something I wanted to talk about on Friday. Some people were really mad at Trump. It's gonna be a pretty Trump-centric day. Because he came out with a speech talking about our biggest threat isn't Russia, it's a lot of other things that are internal. And so people are saying, oh, how patriotic is this person when they're saying that these other things are destroying America or the biggest threat to America. And the clip that was circulating around, I didn't disagree with this clip, but where they cut it off, there's definitely some more context that's really important. I'm like, I don't see how he's wrong, but you had like Jonah Goldberg and other folks who are, like never Trumpers who are really upset about it. And I'm like, you guys know I've had some criticisms as of late, but I'm like, he was right on this. Also, there's people who are dying for DeSantis to say something all weekend about it. So DeSantis finally made a comment about the Trump indictment, which some people wanted DeSantis to say he wouldn't extradite him or whatever. You're going way outside his scope and where he should, probably throw a bone out there. People were saying all kinds of different stuff, but he did make a statement. So we'll go ahead and play his statement as well. But people are still not. I thought it was a good statement, especially politically on his part as well. But people are upset about his statement too. So lots of moving parts here today. And again, none of this may even happen tomorrow. None of this may even happen. But if it does, it's obviously political. It's obviously flimsy. So maybe that's why Trump was at like a wrestling event the other day and not to like people are like, he's deranged. He's upset. He's clearly upset because he's typing in all caps. He types in all caps all the time. I don't think he think that he's going to jail. He's obviously always been targeted and has been targeted relentlessly from the moment he came down the escalators. But I don't foresee him going to jail, but obviously politically motivated. But before we get into everything, I want to encourage you guys to go to blacktnews.com, check out different content on the website, different articles, different videos, etc. You guys can check out different merch at the store. Like we got this cool I'm not the victim you're looking for shirt. Really fond of that one. We also got the Be Better, Not Better. I'm going to show you also this crazy video today that I saw of some people from RuPaul's Drag Race, and they were talking about cultural appropriation. They're all black men. They're drag queens in full on makeup and dresses, and they're complaining about white people and cultural appropriation. And I'm like, do women mean nothing to you, bro? Like, it's so wild. The sort of things that these people put in their minds and the things that they say. But yeah, we'll get to that as well. Also, if you like what we do here at blacktnews.com, please check out different. Please go to the website. You guys can go to the donate button and help out with the show. It costs to stream, costs to run my website, all the good stuff. So if you like to support in that sort of way, thank you very much. Those of you who want to go the extra mile. Otherwise, I thank you guys for liking, for sharing, subscribing, all that good stuff. So you guys know that I like to start off with some kind of meme. So this one I saw Elon Musk, I assume, did not make this, but he did post this. The banking system is collapsing. Arrest Donald Trump. So, that's from Austin Powers. Good solid meme foundation. Yeah, so there's a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of people, usually when something goes on, people are like, "Oh, here's a distraction," and I don't know if I buy like this is the distraction as opposed to you have a corrupt person in New York who wants to go ahead and make his mark upon the world. But there's a lot of interesting political possibilities that could come from this. Trump getting a bump in his numbers because people see him as the guy that they won't stop attacking because he went out on a limb and said, "I'm for you guys, the American people, and I'm here for you." And they're just trying to get through me to get to you, and people believe that, and so they want to stand by Trump and fight for Trump. So he's fundraising out, off of this. So it bumps his numbers. I think it bumps his war chest. Gives them something to complain about the left and how they are. It's obviously blatantly politically motivated. It we're talking about something that statute of limitations should have like bumped this off anyway. And then unless it's like they tie it to the election fraud stuff, there's just a lot of moving parts that don't make sense in the long term of why you would go ahead and prosecute him over this, other than you get your name in the news and get to say that I prosecuted, went after Trump, which is something that people have been announcing and wanting to do for a long time. So it's just, you find the man and you make the crime rather than, oh, there's a crime, let me prosecute a crime that I have found. But let's look at Trump's actual tweet, or not tweet, but truth post in all caps, because he does like all caps. It kind of, when it's all caps, it kind of removes some of the importance of some of the words. So you don't need to do all caps. But now illegal leaks from a corrupt and highly political Manhattan district attorney's office, which has allowed new records to be set in violent crime and whose leader is funded by George Soros, indicate that with no crime being able to be proven and based on an old and fully debunked by numerous other prosecutors fairy tale, the far and away leading Republican candidate. It's so funny that feels like he has to add that in. And former President of the United States of America will be arrested on Tuesday of next week. Protests take our nation back. So, first and foremost, it's still a rumor. I wonder, I question. Normally, you don't. I mean, I guess there's been a lot of leaks that have come out in the news regarding all things Trump. So I guess it's not crazy that there is a leak here that he has heard, that he's spreading, that he's saying, and now people are writing about, and people have been talking about it all weekend. My sister came in my room. She's like, "What's going on with Trump?" And it's been the talk. So it's still rumor. Nothing may happen tomorrow. Nothing may happen tomorrow. It might happen. We don't know. We will see, obviously. As far as protesting, I've been posting on Facebook and YouTube, and I think I put on Instagram, Admiral Akbar from Star Wars. I don't think everybody got the reference. But it's a trap thing. It's a trap. Now, of course, Trump is the one telling people to go protest, and people are like, "Oh, he's trying to incite another riot." January 6th was, well, incite an insurrection is what they say about January 6th. There was a riot that happened, but no, it's totally legit to tell people to protest. I don't think it's wise to do that though, especially if you're planning to go to New York. I wouldn't do it. Someone pushed back and said, "You clearly don't speak for Trump. He said to protest." By all means, you can do whatever the heck you want to do. And that's a brain dead decision. I'm sorry. I can't be nice about it. it doesn't, it's not wise. they they've decided they're not going to prosecute like half of the misdemeanors. This is what's going on in New York, right? That like half the misdemeanors they're not going to even like go after, like things like prostitution and other stuff, right? That I mean that they're going to downgrade like felonies and stuff, and not going to go after a lot of stuff. They just don't want to prosecute crime, right? So, but they'll certainly go after you. They don't want to go after crime that's going on in their state, in their city. But what they will do is reach all the way back to 2016 and go after Trump over something that should really be expired. Okay? These people are crazy. And I know you want to say, well, I want to stand up for him, and we can't let ourselves be, intimidated. What do you think the protest is going to do? Like, what do you think it's going to do besides boost Trump's ego and be like, yeah, those people are out for me? Like, he doesn't need that. Not really. I mean, he's still going to run this kind of stuff. He's still fundraising. He still had his fun at the wrestling event he went to. I'm sure he's still ticked off. I'm sure he's still ticked off and isn't planning on quitting anytime soon, is going to finish up to the primary and whatever else happens. If you want to support him, you support him at the ballot box. You don't need to go protest over this. You don't. You're just going to put yourself in harm's way. And if something happens to you, he's not going to send his lawyers to get you out, pay for lawyers. It's just think about just what's wise. There's more productive things to do to show your support for this man. So there's no telling. This is leaked, right? This thing was leaked. Trump says go protest. And if people go out somewhere, you might have a bunch of feds there or whatever, monitoring information, looking at who was going, whatnot. May have informants in there, Antifa, whoever. It's just not wise. You can totally not take my advice. But I want to give it nonetheless. Don't let this be. Don't let this be another event. And I don't think it's going to be anything along the lines of January 6th, but you just don't open yourself up to that kind of possibility. I mean, if there is an indictment tomorrow, that would be a huge deal. It would be an enormous, astronomical, big deal for sure. And I can understand people having immense emotional reactions to it. People who don't like Trump should have immense emotional reactions to it regarding the weight of prosecuting a former president on such a, I'm going to say nothing burger, for it does not live up to the standard of why you would need to do something on someone like this. And people are saying no one's above the law. It doesn't, but it looks like you're going after him purposely because of political methods. That's what it is. People, make campaign finance violation stuff all the time. Hillary Clinton took care of that stuff silently. Which, by the way, some people are noting that Bill Clinton paid off Paula Jones. In my head, I was like, when I saw Paula Jones trending on Twitter, my mind confused Paula Jones with Paula White. And I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, paid off what? And then I was like, oh. Two different people. But Paula, he did, but that's not really the same thing because it's not caught up in how Trump or allegedly had stuff paid off. It's not the same. I know people want to mention it just for whatever sake, but it's not the same. Maybe it's something to point out because a lot of young people don't remember or know that kind of history. Back in 2016, I tweeted out something about the blue dress, and it was amazing how many people did not know about the blue dress situation. It was one of my highest, most engaged tweets, actually. But there's a lot of people who just don't know that kind of stuff because I guess we're getting up there. I guess 30 is getting up there. A lot of people just don't know the history, but yeah, don't go to the protests. It's obviously politically motivated. Um, if Trump is indicted, let me say this because I think this will be interesting. I don't foresee this happening because I don't think Biden can be that adult in the room. But if Trump was indicted tomorrow, I I think it would be wise and a major win for Biden if, well, first of all, I'm sure he'd probably privately laugh about it. Um, to come out and say that this seems politically, this is a very serious thing and it kind of looks politically motivated, and we don't need this sort of division in our country, and to just go ahead and pardon Trump. If he did that, that would take a lot of wind out of Trump's sails regarding the they're coming at me. It would elevate Biden as the adult in the room, you know. Um, and then it would have Biden would forever have like something over him. Now, I don't think Biden would do that because I think Trump. So many people want to indict and go after Trump, and not because I'm not saying he's got nothing, no skeletons in his closet or anything like that. But the way they've been going after him, I'm like, he seems a lot cleaner than he originally maybe did to a lot of people because of how long they've been going after him and haven't come up with anything. But with with Trump, he's gonna say that they're coming after me, et cetera, blah blah blah. He's gonna use that in the campaign trail. Like I said, he's using it to fundraise, all that stuff. And if Biden can stop that, that would be good for Biden, and I think the whole kind of dim team. But I don't think he'll do that because one, they really just want to punish Trump. They want to punish Trump because he dared to run, he dared to buck the establishment, he dared to push back, and he's just being punished for it. Like Dinesh D'Souza, he went to jail not because he didn't. I'm not saying he didn't do something wrong with his campaign finance that he did, but the level of punishment that he got was kind of, from my understanding, a bit unprecedented. But my dad was like, the way he went after Hillary with the Hillary's America video and stuff. He's like, I knew that. He's like, I knew they were going to go after him, or maybe which came first, the Hillary's America or the Obama thing. Maybe the Obama video came out first before the Hillary's America. But my dad was like, he knew that they were gonna gun for him, and he went to jail for a little bit. And when he debated Cenk, that was all Cenk said: "You're a felon, you're a felon," like repeatedly, kept saying it over and over again. So I think at their core, they really, 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 really want to punish Trump. Like people say, no one's above the law. I don't think these aren't the type of people who believe that. Anyway, the people saying it, they are not the type of people who actually literally believe that. One, but they're going after Trump because of his position and who he was and what he did and what he accomplished when he was supposed to be a sideshow joke. He's the person who they wanted to be the nominee because they thought he'd be the easiest to defeat. If you read the Podesta emails, that's exactly what Hillary Clinton and her team believed. That's why they wanted Trump, because they thought he'd be easy to beat. And her team even was like, I think she's focusing too much on this as her strategy. That was part of the conversations in those leaked emails, which were quite juicy. So I was excited when there's always a new batch to drop. So they wanted him to be the nominee, but they didn't expect him to win. So him winning has been forever a thing that they've been ticked off about. Okay, they haven't gotten over it. So since they haven't gotten over it, they're gonna forever keep coming at him to punish him and to punish everyone who supported him, teach him a lesson, so everyone knows next time to not try, to not bother. It's about punishing him and making an example out of him. That's really why there's the never-ending stuff. Now, they don't like Republicans, period, and they come after them and they're nasty to them. People are nasty, so nasty to Mitt Romney, when he ran, accusing him of such crazy stuff during the campaign. They were so mean to Bush and said so many things about Bush, and That he was the worst. He was. I mean, I will never forget when Pink was at the one of the award shows and she sang a song about how he wouldn't love his daughters if she was gay, and I'm like, what the heck, bro? Like, people just had such a strong hatred for him, and the media was nonstop. But it's next level with Trump. It's next level with Trump. And they usually let you leave office and they still don't like you, but they'll be like, well, that person was awful, but they're not so bad now because they're gone. You know, Bush trades candy with Michelle. He paints old people. Like, is he really as bad, like, as maybe we thought? If he ever wanted to push someone else in politics, yeah, sure. Get rid of him. But when they're no longer like a threat, you know, they can dial it back. You can't do that with Trump. He's always got to be the worst until the next one is the worst. Until the next one is the worst. So yeah, so I don't think Biden would maybe pardon for that reason. But there's also the fact that Biden legitimately thinks he can get away with anything, so he doesn't need to take that kind of higher ground. So why did I mention it? I just thought it would be an interesting and probably the best move for him. So if he does do it, I guess I want to mention and have it out there to, I don't know, make myself look like, I predicted it. But no, I legitimately do think that would probably be the best move for him, especially to elevate him as the adult to undercut Trump. But I don't think they're gonna do it. I don't think I don't think that's in him. Because I don't think he legitimately feels like it has to be. He always takes the road. I won't say always. Let me retract that. But normally they go for the jugular, like Clarence Thomas stuff. Like, they knew that he didn't do anything. That the sexual allegation stuff was bunk. As a matter of fact, if you watch the documentary that they have on the Daily Wire, they talk about that time when the FBI or whoever showed up at his house to talk about Anita Hill a bit or whatever, and it seemed kind of understood that there was no there, but it got out to the press and then became a circus, and then it just became that they felt that was their opening, that they had to go and do the new hearing, and was just Joe Biden led that circus, you know. And Clarence Thomas talked about his wife talked about how she had to sit there with Kennedy there, knowing what happened, Chappaquiddick, with the bridge and the girl, and they're judging him for like the comments about the hairs on the pop can and other stuff. It's just wild. But they go the jugular route. You know, he could pull everybody out of Afghanistan because that's what he wanted to do, and he didn't believe that he'd be held accountable for the repercussions. So I don't think he cares about the sort of divide there would be in the country if Trump got indicted. I don't think he would care that someone was going way outside the line of their purview, you know, and really reaching and doing something blatantly political, because they hate Trump, and they resent the people who voted for him. And Biden has not showed in any sort of measure that he wants to be someone who heals the country. He might come out and say a speech or whatever, but then he'll turn around and condemn the MAGA Republicans for having really, really normal views and say this is the radical MAGA views who believe that you shouldn't kill babies, or it'll just be like really normal things. And he'll just be like, by the way, we have to protect genital mutilation for children. It's these people are wild. These people are wild. Thank you to everybody in the comments. I see you. See some people who came over from my YouTube shorts. By the way, just want to shout out to my new followers and stuff, especially on YouTube. I did crack 40K, I think last night. So thank you guys for watching, for subscribing. So thank you. So I'm gonna go ahead and play Ron DeSantis's statement, because there's some people who were like nonstop. When is Ron going to say something? When is Ron going to say something? And all the Republicans are weak and they don't say something. And Vivek did come out and make a statement where he thought that Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley should come out and condemn the indictment thing. And at first I was like, no, I really agree with that. And then I'm like, and other people are making the point, like, it's still a rumor. I'm like, that's true too. It's still a rumor. We're not sure where everything is right now. So Ron DeSantis did come out with a statement, or he was asked a question. He made a statement rather. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this for you guys, because I thought it was pretty good. Some people are still mad about it. So let's go ahead and talk about it.
Facts yet, and so I don't know what's going to happen. But I do know this: the Manhattan District Attorney is a Soros-funded prosecutor, and so he, like other Soros-funded prosecutors, they weaponize their office to impose a political agenda on society at the expense of the rule of law and public safety. He has downgraded over 50% of the felonies to misdemeanors. He says he doesn't want to even have jail time for the vast, vast majority of crimes. And what we've seen in Manhattan is we've seen the crime rate go up, and we've seen citizens become less safe. And so you're talking about this situation with, and look, I don't know what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair. I can't speak to that. But what I can speak to is that if
we're gonna pause there, because people are there's a clip that's going around of this conversation, and it stopped a little bit after that. He says a little bit more and then it's cut off. And people are like, he didn't even name Trump by name, and this is disgusting, et cetera, blah, blah, blah. The mentioning of the porn star situation, talking about Stormy Daniels and Stormy Daniels being paid off by, Trump's slimy people who work for him. That is him. I mean, those are the allegation was related to as far as the indictment. So mentioning it is what it is. DeSantis bringing it up there, I think, was a strategic diss. Again, it is what it is. He is talking about the situation. He was asked the question. People want him to respond. But I do think it was a strategic sort of diss, just to let everybody know, like, I can't speak to the porn star situation. Just letting everyone know, reminding people that this thing is out there and there's some not great stuff still tied with Trump. Now, it got to the point where Stormy Daniels, did that break a little bit after he was the president? I think that happened maybe a little bit after. Someone can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I remember I was on Let It Rip. It's a local news show, and we were supposed to talk about some different stuff, and the Stormy Daniels stuff popped up, and they wanted to talk about it, and I was like, I was not prepared to talk about that. So I was on with somebody, and they were kind of, I don't know, shilling is the only kind of word that comes to mind, kind of like, when you lie to your wife, and I'm like, and then the camera like cut to my face at some point, and I'm just like, because like, my mom acts like adultery is the worst sin, and so I'm just like, not cool with that, not cool. I was not about to go and defend that situation, because it had just like come out. So yeah, that was an awkward like TV moment, and I'm like, it was new. So anyway, I think that kind of went down after he was president. I don't remember that being something people talked about on the campaign trail. But DeSantis reminding people that that's something that you have to remember, and we're gonna have to re-deal with that stuff. Because he's not the guy in the chair defending like all the stuff he's done, which Trump can focus on and say I did a good job, blah 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 blah. But he's not an incumbent. He's it's an open primary, so there's different rules that are gonna apply here.
You have a prosecutor who is ignoring crimes happening every single day in his jurisdiction, and he chooses to go back many, many years ago to try to use something about porn star hush money payments. That's an example of pursuing a political agenda and weaponizing the office. And I think that that's fundamentally wrong. I also think it's important to point out when you're talking about these Soros-funded prosecutors, yes, they may do a high-profile politicized prosecution, and that's bad, but the real victims are ordinary New Yorkers, ordinary Americans in all these different jurisdictions, that they get victimized every day because of the reckless political agenda that these Soros DAs bring to their job. They ignore crime and they empower criminals, and that hurts people, hurts a lot of people every single day. These Soros district attorneys are a menace to society, and I'm just glad that I'm the only governor in the country that's actually removed one from office during my tenure.
So this is really good, at least on his part. Like people mad at him because he didn't defend Trump enough, which he hasn't come out in the race, and who knows if he actually will come out in the race. He's got to see a good path for him to, to beat Trump in the primary before he puts himself out like that. But I don't know. I've heard like that he will. I heard that he won't. Because Trump like won't stop regardless. There's concern. I don't know. Seems hot or cold. If I had to bet on it, I would assume that he'd probably jump in the race in a month or so. I don't know. Not sure though. But when you do interviews and they ask you questions and there's a topic or something, you want to turn it back into your sort of favor. That's just what they teach you when you, at least what people ought to teach you when you're doing some kind of media and you're out in the public eye, but particularly with politics. So they asked this question about Trump. He addresses it, in my opinion, mentions the details to sully Trump a bit, who is his, rival, but the facts are just the facts. And then he says it is politically motivated. So he speaks to it being a bad thing. So that's a good thing. And then he says, goes into this big Soros DA rant. And then reminds everyone that he's actually done something to remove these woke people. So it's, in my opinion, I think is a great statement for him. If you want a great statement in defense of Trump, that's just very Trump centric, this was not the statement for you. But I think it's a good statement for him politically for a lot of reasons.
And in terms of we are not involved in this, won't be involved in this. I have no interest in getting involved in some type of manufactured circus by some Soros DA, okay? He's trying to do a political spectacle. He's trying to virtue signal for his base. I've got real issues I got to deal with here in the state of Florida. We're obviously shutting down CBDC, which is important. We've got so many things pending in front of the legislature. I've got to spend my time on issues that actually matter to people. I can't spend my time worrying about things of that nature. So we're not going to be involved in it in any way. I'm fighting for Floridians, and I'm fighting back against Biden. That's what I do every single day.
I think where he's saying that he's not going to be involved, they're talking about whether he's going to stop, Trump from being extradited into New York to be prosecuted and stuff, which I don't think he can do that, but that's what people were really pushing. Someone in the comments said, why should DeSantis do anything after Trump's been coming at him? That's a good question. I mean, you should do what is right because it is right. but again, I don't really think that's within his sort of powers to do that sort of thing. And but what's funny is that there was a Trump super PAC that was going after DeSantis, like I think like a week ago, trying to come at him for I don't know if it was campaign finance or something along those lines, but I think they wanted him to not be able to be in the race or something. So it's kind of funny. It's kind of funny, but yeah, as far as him going out on a limb on something that is still a rumor, I don't think he should do that. I don't think other people really should do that. I think people should point out that there's politically motivated people who are funded by some really bad actors who want bad things for the country, who are ruining the country, who are allowing a lot of crime and other things to come in and mess up our cities big time. And DeSantis reminding people that he's been on that case. Again, that's a good statement from him. So maybe everybody doesn't love it, but I thought that was a good statement for him. And there's some folks who I don't know, the rivalry between the people who are like pro DeSantis and pro Trump are really really heating up anyway. So I'm not sure that there could have been a statement that DeSantis could have made that would have made them really content anyway. So moving on, I want to show you guys this video from last week. People were really upset at Trump because he came out with a video saying that our biggest threat was not Russia, that it was from powers within. And you had people like Jonah Goldberg who was saying, oh, mocking him like, oh, you people are so patriotic. But if you looked at his full sort of statement, I don't see how he's wrong. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And we can read his tweet while we watch this little clip of Trump. And then I'm going to read some more context. Because I don't understand how you can disagree with Trump's statement here.
At home, the State.
One second.
Department at home, the State Department, the defense bureaucracy, the intelligence services, and all of the rest need to be completely overhauled and reconstituted to fire the deep staters and put America first. We have to put America first. Finally, we have to finish the process we began under my administration of fundamentally reevaluating NATO's purpose and NATO's mission. Our foreign policy establishment keeps trying to pull the world into conflict with a nuclear-armed Russia based on the lie that Russia represents our greatest threat. But the greatest threat to Western civilization today is not Russia. It's probably, more than anything else, ourselves and some of the horrible USA-hating people that represent us at home.
Now it's replaying. Okay, so Goldberg's like so much patriotism and just quoting the greatest threat, etc. So so here's Stephen Miller, who's like, here's some more of the quote. The greatest threat to Western civilization today is not Russia. It's probably more than anything else ourselves and some of the horrible USA hating people that represent us. It's the abolition of our national borders. This is what's not in that clip that's going around. I think that's a pretty big deal. Our our borders not being secure, and all the drugs and whatnot coming across the border. So that's a problem. And not knowing who all's coming in, terrorists and whatnot. There's some bad people coming in. So I think that's a big issue. It's the failure to police our own cities. I think that's a big problem. It's the destruction of the rule of law from within. How can you disagree with that? It's the collapse of the nuclear family and fertility rates, like nobody can believe is happening. That's definitely a big one. That is definitely the destruction of the family unit. You attack the family, you attack a civilization, bruh. um, I agree with that. It's the Marxists who would have us become a godless nation worshiping at the altar of race and gender and environment. And it's the globalist class that has made us totally dependent on China and other foreign countries that basically hate us. So, I mean, you guys can be the judge. Do you guys think Trump is wrong there in anything that he said there? You know, when as people on the left who will criticize America and stuff, they'll say, you know, people will say if you hate it, just leave or whatever, and they'll say like, "Hey, we love this place. That's why we can criticize it because we want it to be better." Isn't that the same kind of like reaction here? Like, there's things that are wrong, but it's not even that, because we believe America is great, but there's people who have been actively chipping away to destroy the country. You know, when he had, you know, Nam and other stuff, they knew that if they could just hold out, because there was such anger and protesting about the war going on at home, that they just knew if they could just wear out Americans, that we would defeat ourselves. We give up, we leave, we go. You know, at one point, America really became too big to defeat, but not too big to fail. But we just have to destroy ourselves from the inside. So, I mean, someone comes with some kind of big threat, we rise to meet the occasion. We build up our military. We'll go to war. We'll fight, etc. We'll come together. Do you guys remember? I don't know how old everyone is watching, but like September 11th, with the atmosphere of the country, the height of the patriotism, people signing up, you know, for the military to go to fight, etc. Like, that was an energy that we have. People ask, like, when was the last time the country was really unified? I think it was right after September 11th. I, I think that's probably genuinely the last time you felt something like that. So when there's some kind of outside threat to America, people rise together to try to defeat that. Like, we'll come together to do that. But if we're internally divided and we destroy ourselves, that's a whole different ball game. So I don't know how you can listen to Trump's statement and be so mad and say he's not patriotic because he says something that's absolutely true. And he's complaining about these people who are destroying pillars of American society when you're talking about faith and the family. You know, the people coming and chipping away at all that stuff. And rather than worship God, worship secularism and worship sexual identity and, you know, all kinds of other stuff instead. Everyone is a bit religious. It's just a matter of what you're worshiping, you know? Like, if you're a Christian, you probably baptize your kids in water. If you're some kind of regressive, you baptize your kids in sexual identity, and you bring them to a drag time story hour, which, by the way, Latita James, she had a drag time story hour that she hosted and had a big police presence there because there was a big protest. And I'll show a little bit of the video, but it's just wild. You know, we showed up to keep the peace, I guess, at the drag time story hour. You I guess if you're not going to commit a crime, make sure you commit your crime some other time, but not during drag time story out, because that's when the cops will come. You know, to make sure they can peacefully pervert your kids. So that's what's on people's minds. That's what people are pushing today. You know, I totally agree with Trump with that, at least. And I understand so many people just want to hate him. Like, hate him for something legitimate. Don't hate him when he's right. Like, for real. He's 100% right about that. 100% right. So, an example of all this, Minnesota Lieutenant Governor standing up for, gender affirmation in her state because you just believe the kids, darn it.
Because let's be clear, this is life affirming and life saving healthcare. When our children tell us who they are, it is our job as grown-ups to listen and to believe them. That's what it means to be a good parent.
So, I don't know how many parents are watching, but that is not what makes a good parent, that you just listen to your kids and just believe them at face value, whatever they say about their identity. Like, kids believe the darndest things, say the darndest things. You can convince them that a man comes down the chimney. Some of y'all even got chimneys that come down the chimney to leave presents there, and they'll bake cookies and sit on the laps of strangers and say, give me a chia pet, or whatever the heck kids want these days. Probably not a chia pet. That was the first thing that came to mind for whatever reason. But kids believe the craziest things. Believe the craziest things that are not true. You can't just say, believe a child who's indoctrinated, which, by the way, Elon Musk replied to this. And so you can't just believe kids when they've been indoctrinated by adults about this crazy stuff. But they're saying just believe them. Well, after you've cut in front of the parents and did all this indoctrination at schools, on TV, on Blue's Clues, there's a show on Netflix. I can't think of the show. It got canceled. I'm assuming it's because of backlash after this, but I'm not sure. But the same people who do Dr. McStuffins, it's not Dr. McStuffins, but it's like the same people who do it. They have a TV show on Netflix, and there was a bull, and he was talking to a smaller bull, and they're like, just so you know, I'm non-binary. I'm not a boy, I'm not a girl. And it was clearly a boy. It seemed like it was boy. But I'm like, why would a preschooler need to know this? I'm like, how can a preschooler understand this? This is so bonkers about this. My nieces, one is 5, one is 4. They don't understand grammar. I love them. They're so sweet and they're adorable. But they mix up she and her, and he and him. And I don't know how they learned to do that. And I'm trying to unwind them. I think my nephew did it too. And he's doesn't do it anymore. But I try to correct my niece, my older niece. She just says okay, but I think she just says okay and is like on to the next thing. I don't think she's really processing my correction. And like, oh, him is like this, and I'm like, no, not him, he. And she's like, okay. I'm like, no, you're why? I'm like, why are you saying it like that? Like, so I don't even know how that is a natural thing that kids process to make it part of their vernacular like that. I don't even understand how that happened. Not in the least, not from what they're watching on TV, not from conversations that they have with other people, unless there's something like on YouTube with Elsie and Anna or whatever. Elsie and Anna, there's some kind of thing that they watch with Barbies that teach them as grammar. I don't know where they got this, but I know that if they watch this thing, which their mom wouldn't let them, but if they watch this preschool thing and there's a bull saying I'm non-binary, they would not understand it. They wouldn't understand it. So what's the purpose of putting it on there? But besides authoring confusion and patting yourself on the back. What's it for? What's it for? So anyway, that show got canceled. That show got canceled. But no, you just don't trust your kids when they. Mm-mm. Kids want crazy stuff. Kids believe crazy stuff. Kids believe that. I know someone, their older sibling convinced them that they could fly, so they jumped out of a tree house. Really hurt themselves, by the way. Very mean. Kids believe the craziest stuff. And kids are wonderful. They're beautiful. You know, they don't always do good things, but they're largely innocent. You know, wondrous, wondrous, wonderful people. But they're really naive and gullible. They're very malleable. Which there was a Peppa Pig survey. You know, the TV show Peppa Pig. There was a survey, and not a survey, it was a petition. I'm sorry, it was a petition. They wanted a gay couple on Peppa Pig. And in the petition, and they did, well, I don't know if the petition itself succeeded, but there is a gay couple on Peppa Pig now. But the reason why they said it in the petition, why they wanted it, there was a couple different reasons, but one thing really stuck out to me. They said children are malleable. I'm like, you just gave the game away, didn't you? They're malleable. It's not because they're so understanding that they're above the thinking of the adults who are super archaic in their thinking. It's because they're super easy to mold. That's why they want to jump over parents and teach them that boys and girls don't exist, like Jeffrey Marshall on TikTok, who also believes biology is fake. Bunch of weird stuff. A lot of weird stuff that's being pushed on kids or people in general. People keep saying that we need sex education in schools, and I'm just like, what did you learn? What did you learn? Especially since there are so many trans women that think that they can have periods. Like, what did you learn while you were there? Something, because I don't have time to go into a rant about this today, but Thomas Sowell is like against sex education. He lays out a good case, and I know there's plenty of pro-life people who are like, no, we need more sex education. That's how we'll solve abortion. I'm like, I don't think that's why people have abortions, because they don't know how babies are made. I don't think that's why it happens, but I think we do have sex education, not for people to learn about their bodies. I mean, they do teach that kind of stuff, but Thomas Sowell pointed out, you don't need to do that for years. You don't need, so why would you need to teach it K through 12 if that was the goal, just to let people learn about their body? You don't need all those years to do that. The reason why sex education is just to normalize sex and the culture of that. So I'm not getting too more of it today, but I'll just let that thought linger in your brain a little bit longer. And I want to show you guys this before I go. The cast of RuPaul's Drag Race were together talking about appropriation, and this was wild to me. Really wild to me.
Material.
Yeah, I just feel like there's such a long-rooted history.
Wait, before we move on, I need you. I don't know how well you can see it. I don't know how well. Okay. Look at that man's outfit. He has baby heads all over him. Why? I just wanted you to be aware of this before we move on. If you had any questions, I just wanted to let you know.
Citing the source material.
Yeah, I just feel like there's such a long-rooted history in appropriation from Black culture. Like, for instance, like when I go to the Metropolitan Museum and I see things that they've taken from Africa, I see things that they've taken from Nubia, and then you go and you, yes, and then you go and you look at these pillars, and then there's this white man, Samuel something something, 1800, going and saying, I'm putting my ownership on something that was never mine to begin with. And then they go, yeah, I discovered it. So then it gives me this ownership, like I can take it and it can be mine. And I feel like it's that entitlement that is one thing that we really need to discuss. Like there is a way, I feel, to very much so appreciate somebody's culture, but so many times, like Bob says, there are times where, you know, they cite the source, but they don't.
So, if we're talking about like taking stuff, discovering stuff, and putting in museums and whatever, a lot of stuff we have is because people preserved it and put it in museums in different places. So if you have things at different museums that you go and appreciate, it's because someone wanted to preserve that, and not all cultures are kind to some other historical stuff. So there's that thought, but here's another. What audacity do you have to be a drag queen talking about cultural appropriation? You do that for a living, like what do you mean? How dare you even do this? To complain about other people doing cultural. First of all, like this is a cast from RuPaul's Drag Race, like having a conversation. RuPaul said that the point of drag is to make a mockery out of everything. That is the point of drag. Plus, they're like adult entertainers, which is really gross. But the point of them is mockery. Whether it's and RuPaul said whether it's gender or race or economic status and stuff, it's just to mock everything, break the fourth wall, etc. That's their purpose, according to RuPaul, right? So that's why RuPaul said they'll technically never be mainstream, which is ironic because RuPaul, you know, pretty much put it out there to be mainstream. But these people, their career is that they perform minstrel shows and they mock women and femininity and womanhood. You know, they call each other sis and queens and girls and they're dudes in makeup. And they'll do different stuff on TV that are PG-13 or whatever on the friendlier side. And then they'll have, you know, drag Christmas specials. Nina West was on RuPaul's Drag Race and is hosting this Christmas thing that's happened and went around, and just have the just vile things. And they had kids in attendance, which, by the way, Ron DeSantis did revoke a Hyatt's like liquor license because they hosted it there, and so that's got to sting for them. But I don't even know if that's enough there. Just some really gross stuff. They should not have kids in attendance at that kind of stuff. But yeah, they do a minstrel show. That's what they do. Like adult perverted sort of minstrel shows. That's what they do. So to complain about a cultural appropriation on any level about anything is just nonsense. Just nonsense. Anyway, we are done. That's the show for today. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being in the comments. The people who watch it back live. I do want to thank Brighter Michigan Pack. I am in their studio today. So I like when I'm in the studio. I was kind of distracted earlier when I first saw that I was see-through because of the my green screen wasn't quite adjusted properly, but I do want to take the time to thank them for all that they do in the state of Michigan. So if you're in the state of Michigan and you'd like to learn more, just, you know, search them out on Facebook, on their website, and, you know, donate, give, get involved. They do great work. So I'm grateful to Brighter Michigan Pack, and I've really grown while being in here and while being associated with the pack and stuff. So I'm, you know, very, very, very grateful. Please go to blackteams.com, check out different content on the website, articles, videos, etc. Please go ahead and check out different merch on the store. March is reading month. So you guys can check out, well, this isn't out yet, but we have, of course, God is Blatantly Against Abortion, which last minute I did decide to add something in a segment. I have a section in my book that deals with the exceptions that people say, like life of the mother, illness, etc. And so I came across a video of someone that I've seen on TikTok quite a bit, and they told a story about how their mother, the doctor told her mother to abort her at 8 months because they were looking, and they're like, she's gonna have no fingers and toes and all this kind of stuff, and that she was gonna be she wasn't gonna survive. And I'm like, 8 months is a heck of a time to be wrong. Like, that would be a terrible abortion at 8 months, because you still gotta, they gotta, you gotta deliver it. So that's a multi-day process, and just awful. And of course, obviously, she lived, and she had fingers and toes. She was just a dwarf. So anyway, I'm gonna be writing about her story and interviewing her mom and other stuff. But yeah, that was just wild to me. I'm like, 8 months? You that wrong at 8 months? You can't tell the sonogram at 8 months. Oh boy. I told my sister that, and she's like, "Well, people, they are just practicing medicine." I'm like, "I guess," but God bless her mom. Um, anyways, yeah. So we got that book that's available for pre-order for ebook. If you want a paperback, just make sure you guys are signing up on the website so you can learn more. I also have plenty of other books that you guys can check out. Most of them are fiction, but I have 15 that are published, so go ahead and check that out. And also, if you like what I do, please consider leaving a donation at blacktnews.com/donate. Also tonight, 8 p.m., I will be back live again with a friend from TikTok, boldly growing forward. So just a little backstory. I think originally who had the TikTok profile with boldly going forward was Becca, was transgender. Now Becca is detransitioning and going by Duncan. And so Duncan, I think I first started watching his content because of like pandemic stuff, if I'm not mistaken. Duncan is like a libertarian, and which is interesting because I know people who were like on the right and then became trans and then like totally switched their identity. So I'm curious to ask a lot of questions about politics. Just a wealth of knowledge. Kind of believes that everyone sucks, both sides suck, but is very positive and understanding when approaching different people's questions, and is always very kind and understanding and open. And now going through this process of detransitioning. So if you guys have questions, look forward to you guys like saying them in the comments, and we'll get to them. We'll have a discussion it'll probably go a little bit over an hour, but we're shooting for an hour. So yeah, please join us back later tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So just, a few hours from now. So we'll see you then for the big conversation, and looking forward to it. So God bless you.